It's Martyn from Luxe Resin here. A very happy new year to you, and I hope you all had a very wonderful break. Now, at the back end of last year, I promised that I'd come back here and start a new YouTube channel and document my exploration into something pretty new from us. Last year I was inspired by a customer who said to me, "You know what, Martyn, I think you should go out and make one of these." And I was like, no, that would be way too hard. Here I am in 2026, and I'm happy and excited to announce that this YouTube channel is going to dedicate a number of episodes where I'm going to bring to you all the trials and tribulations of me making an electric guitar out of wood and epoxy resin. Now, I'm certainly no Leo Fender or even a Patrick Eggle, and if you know anything about electric guitars, you'll know who those gentlemen are. But I do have some woodwork skills. I can work with epoxy resin, and the two combined can produce some really beautiful pieces. So I thought it'd be good for me to share with you publicly my successes, my failures, the tools I use, the processes I go through, and more importantly, what I'm learning as I go through this project. And we'll see if I can produce an instrument that I can play at the very end. As a guitarist, I've been playing for well over 30 years now. So the mechanism of setting a guitar up to be played, making sure that the string heights are correct, that the bridge is in the right place, the nuts at the right height, the intonation's correct, all of those things I've learned to do over the number of years that I've been playing. So this is going to be something different. Now, I could go out and I could buy some fantastic tone wood, and I could buy some wood for the neck, and I have the tools and probably the time and the patience to be able to root those into a suitable shape to make a playable instrument. But this is my first time, and I need to go through the learning process, and I don't really see the point in spaffing £400 or £500 on particularly high-end timber to make something when I know I'm going to make mistakes that might be critical to the completion of the project. So instead I've gone and pre-purchased some parts and components that have been prefabricated. Not because I'm cheating, but because it's going to help me learn, and it's going to help me understand the process of making a higher musical instrument. So without further ado, let me just show you some of the parts that I've collected that I'm going to be working with. Firstly, and the most important part of any guitar, is the body. And I've purchased one here, and this is made out of a very lightweight wood that's very forgiving to work with, called basswood. Basswood is a tone wood, so that it means that notes will resonate, but unlike a Gibson Les Paul standard that might weigh up to a 9 or 10 pounds or 5 kilograms, this is going to be a little bit lighter, a bit more forgiving on the tools. You'll also see that all of the cavities for various components that I'm going to be using in the build have been pre-prepared, only because for the first time you need to make sure that you've got the center line correct, that the neck that gets attached here is perfectly aligned, and that the bridge is perfectly aligned. So to make sure I got it right first time, this is my shortcut, but that's not what it's going to look like. This is going to have resin in it, so I'm going to be disassembling this body and taking big chunks of this wood out and replacing it with veins of epoxy resin that go right the way through the body. So whilst you're seeing one solid piece of wood here, the end is going to look very differently. Okay, that's the body, so we'll move on then to the neck. Once again, I have a prefabricated neck here. You can see the headstock is not finished, so one of the very early episodes we're going to have to be routing and creating the head. This one's got locking nuts, and we'll talk about that and tuning stability when we've got the whole guitar put together. The neck is made from a single piece of maple. Maple is a very good wood to be working with, very resonant on necks, and if you look very carefully, you'll see that this neck has 2 octaves or 24 frets. The frets themselves, they're not particularly big. they're a rather standard size, not in line really with the medium frets that a lot of modern guitars have on them, but very much playable still. And the fingerboard, as you can see, that's a darker wood. That's poplar, so we've overlaid poplar over the top of the maple. That's the neck I'll be working with, but as you can see, it's unfinished, and a lot of the work that I'll be doing in episodes to come will concentrate on how we get to the finish to make it playable. So that's the body, that's the neck. We also have lots of other gubbins. I've got some in a bag here to give you an idea. So this is a humbucker pickup. That's part of the electronics that's going to go into the body of the guitar, and that's going to give different tones according to the type and style of music that you wish to play. So we've got some pickups, we've got lots of other electronic bits and pieces, capacitors, tone pots, 5-way switches. All of these things are really important to the making of an electric guitar. And then finally, where the strings come out of the body is something called the bridge. I've gone for a complicated bridge. You'll see more of this when I do the build, but it's a floating bridge, which means that we use string tension to keep it in place. And I'm going to fit on it a tremolo arm. So many people that like rock and heavy metal will be familiar with guitars that get dive bombed, and that comes courtesy of a tremolo arm. So that's the bridge, that's the pickup. Most importantly for me, I managed to uncover the blueprint of a Stratocaster guitar, a Fender Stratocaster, and I've managed to print off on a 1-to-1 ratio. This is a life-sized diagram of the body of a Fender Stratocaster. That's the blueprint for me. That's everything I need to work by, accurate to the very millimetre, with every profile, every cavity, every depth, every width, even the radius of the curved lines. That's all contained in that blueprint. That's going to be so important to the work that I do. And it's not just the body that I've got profiles of. I've also got a blueprint for the making. You probably think that's an improvement now you can't see me. That's a Stratocaster neck profile. So if I do fancy making my own neck in the future, that's going to give me the ability to be able to do so as well. So there's some of the bits and pieces that I've been collecting over the last couple of months to get ready for this project. Now, it's not just hacking apart the body and filling it in with a deep pour epoxy resin to make it look all pretty, because this guitar has got various bevels and profiles on it. So when the epoxy has cured, I'm going to have to level it off, and in some places put new bevels on, and make sure that the body's all nice and smooth. And also, I'm not going to go for a plain coloured wood. So basswood as it stands doesn't have an awful lot of grain in it, so I'm going to need to stain it to enhance the grain that's within it. So I've purchased a grain, and you can comment below what colour you think I might have gone for, because we need to see a stunning product. So the stain is going to be used on the body in the areas that aren't epoxy resin, and they're going to be used on the back of the neck and on the headstock as well, so that the colour theme continues throughout the instrument. I think that's going to look really good. So like I said, comment below what colour you think I'm going to do. So that's it in a nutshell. That's the project, and we're going to see together how this instrument unravels as we progress episode by episode. As I said earlier, I'm going to share with you hopefully some successes, obvious failures. I need to be honest about the lessons I'm going to learn, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the end product is actually going to look like. So thank you again to that friend who challenged me last year when she took delivery of one of our tables and said, I'd really like to see one of these. You know who you are. Thank you for providing me with the motivation. So that's about it for this episode. So if you like it, or you want to see another episode, please make sure that you like or you follow, so that you don't miss out when we drop the next episode. Because I promise you, in the next episode, PPE on, we're going to be in the workshop, and we're going to get cracking straight away. So join me for the next one, and until then, see ya!